Hello, my name is Donna, I'm 38 years old, and I've recently freed myself from an oppressive marriage. Let me tell you, leaving my husband felt like stepping into true freedom. I first met Michael on a blind date, set up by a mutual friend. He was effortlessly charming and undeniably handsome. At first, he seemed like everything I had been looking for. We shared many interests, and our conversations flowed naturally. For the first 7 months, we kept things light and casual, taking turns organizing fun and spontaneous outings. As we grew closer, we made things official, and a year into our relationship, we moved in together. It was during this time that I learned about Michael's financial struggles. Though I tried to offer advice and encourage him to focus on advancing in his career, he rarely took me seriously. Despite this, he was able to get by, and I was willing to support us both financially if it came to that. 3 years into our relationship, we married, and a year later, we bought a house, under my name alone due to my superior credit. Looking back, that decision was one of the few things I got right. But after 4 years of marriage, I started noticing changes in Michael. He became more demanding and stopped helping around the house, claiming work had taken up all his energy. Despite my attempts to keep everything running smoothly, the weight of managing everything alone soon became unbearable. When I brought it up, he would promise to change, but nothing ever did. I held on, hoping for things to get better, convinced that love and support were enough to make it work. But as time went on, our connection began to erode. I felt drained, emotionally and physically, and suddenly, I discovered that Michael had been unfaithful. The revelation was jarring, but in hindsight, perhaps I should have seen it coming. It happened one afternoon when Michael left his phone unlocked. I had no intention of snooping, but as I placed it on the charger, a notification caught my eye. It was a message from a woman named Isabella, asking Michael when he was going to leave his pathetic wife to meet her at a motel. The heartbreak was instant, and a wave of disbelief washed over me. I couldn't fathom that Michael, who had always been warm, who I thought I knew, was capable of betraying me. Our marriage had seemed stable, we rarely fought. But there it was, in black and white, and at that moment, I knew I had to confront him. I left the phone as it was, the message still open, so Michael would know I had seen it. When he returned and saw the phone, he immediately realized what had happened. He tried to avoid the conversation, but I was determined to get answers. "You know I know about the affair. We need to talk," I said firmly. "I don't think we should," he responded, trying to brush me off. "Who is she?" I demanded. "I'm sure you saw enough to know her name." "When did it start?" "A year ago. Can we not do this now?" "Why did you start seeing her?" "Please, let's not do this. Don't call me babe. Tell me." "I don't know. I guess I missed the thrill of someone new, someone who understands me." "So I don't understand you?" "It's not that, it's just, you've become dull." "Excuse me?" "You're always tired, you never want to go out. Our life, our sex life, it just faded away." "Do you realize why I'm always tired? Because I'm working full-time and doing everything around the house. You never help with anything." "That's just your role as my wife. I told you to stay at home, but you refused. That doesn't mean you get to stop contributing to the house." His response struck me with the force of a blow. In his mind, our marriage was a series of roles that I was expected to play without question, and apparently, his role didn't require loyalty. "I'm the head of the house," Michael declared coldly. "I can do whatever I want. If that means having an affair for fun, then so be it." His words stung like poison, revealing his distorted view of marriage. I had hoped for a chance to fix things, but his arrogance shattered any hope of reconciliation. "I don't think anything's going to change. I'm happy to stay married, but I'm going to keep seeing Isabella. I need space," he added, his voice flat, as he casually retreated to another room. It was then that I truly understood, Michael had no intention of changing. He was indifferent to the marriage and me. His affair wasn't just a betrayal, it was a reflection of his growing disrespect for everything we had built. A few moments later, I heard the door slam. He left to meet Isabella, and I was left alone, overcome with a mix of grief, anger, and nausea. I broke down. I called my best friend, Judy, who arrived almost instantly. She didn't ask questions, she simply wrapped me in a comforting hug, offering the warmth I needed in the moment. Together, we sat on the couch, watching mindless TV as I slowly regained my composure. When I finally spoke, I shared everything with her. Michael's cheating on me, Judy. I saw everything. Her face tightened with disbelief. Are you sure? Absolutely. I saw a message from a woman named Isabella. She was asking when he was leaving his pathetic wife to meet her. What the hell? Judy's voice was filled with shock. Did you confront him? Of course, I did. He barely wanted to talk about it. Judy stayed with me through the night, offering unwavering support while I processed the painful reality of my shattered marriage. The next day, I began taking steps to protect myself. I transferred my money from our joint account to my personal account, securing my financial independence. When I went back to the house to collect my things, Michael was lounging on the couch, completely indifferent. Where have you been? Why haven't you told me where you were? He asked, his voice thick with feigned concern. Why should I explain myself to you? I shot back. You didn't even bother to check on me. I couldn't keep pretending that things could be fixed. Michael had made it clear he didn't care. The man I had loved was gone, replaced by someone cruel, selfish, and dismissive. As I moved forward with my divorce, I found strength I never knew I had, and with Judy by my side, I knew I could rebuild my life, reclaiming my freedom and dignity. I snapped back, my patience nearly spent. Oh, I'm sorry, but finding out about your affair because you think I'm too boring doesn't exactly make me want to stay polite, I said with a cutting tone. Michael looked momentarily stunned, but quickly redirected the conversation. I noticed you withdrew a large sum from our joint account, he said, trying to sound casual but clearly uneasy. Yes, I took what's mine. Why should I let you waste what I've worked hard for? I shot back. What are you doing? You need to put that money back now, he insisted, his voice tinged with an edge of anger. Or what, Michael? You'll kick me out? Move in with Isabella and have your sister take over my spot? I couldn't help but laugh at how ridiculous the situation had become. Put it back in 3 hours, or I'll make sure things change by tomorrow, he threatened, his tone dark. I ignored him, walking past and heading to our room. I packed up what I needed, leaving him to simmer in his rage. Once at Judy's place, I recounted the whole encounter, and she was livid on my behalf. We need to see a lawyer, right now, she declared. Luckily, she knew someone who could help. We arranged a meeting with her lawyer friend, who first inquired about the house. I explained that both the mortgage and title were in my name. Thanks to my successful career, this was a game changer, giving me a strong position for the legal battle ahead. Judy and the lawyer reassured me that the house was legally mine, and I had the upper hand. Given the disparity in our incomes, it made sense for me to handle the mortgage and purchase the house. Everything it needed, from furniture to repairs, I paid for. The lawyer confirmed that, legally, Michael and his sister had no claim to the house, and if Karen moved in without my permission, I could evict her. The next morning, Michael called to tell me that Karen had moved in, which didn't surprise me. Well, I haven't reversed the transfer, I replied, keeping it brief. His frustration was palpable as he ended the call. Following my lawyer's advice, I started recording all conversations with Michael. I was ready for whatever came next, including evicting Karen if she didn't leave within 4 days. I wasn't surprised by Karen's response. Our relationship had always been rocky. She'd competed with me over trivial things and even sabotaged our wedding. Over the years, I'd had to limit contact with her after she repeatedly stole from us during her visits. Michael always tried to justify her behavior, but I'd finally had enough. I'd made it clear she was no longer welcome in our home. Now, with everything in motion, I finally told Michael about Karen's thefts. He was shocked, but he understood the gravity of her actions. However, Karen didn't let up. One day, she called to gloat. Guess where I am now, Donna? She asked, smugly. Michael told me you moved in, I replied, keeping my tone cool. Yep, and now I have the house all to myself, something you'll never have, she said, her voice dripping with triumph. I still have the house, Karen. I've already sent an eviction notice, and you have 4 days to get out, I informed her calmly. An eviction notice? You really think I'll leave? This is my brother's house, and he told me I could stay, she snapped. It's not his house, Karen, the house is mine. You're just a squatter, I said, standing my ground. You think I don't know what's really going on? I see why my brother went for someone else, she said bitterly. That's enough, I've said all I'm going to. Goodbye. I ended the call, hearing her spiteful laughter as she hung up. If Karen didn't leave within 4 days, I was prepared to take her to court. I had all the legal backing I needed, and I wouldn't back down. True to form, she ran straight to Michael, who called me, furious, demanding to know why I'd sent the eviction notice. I didn't engage with his anger, knowing the truth was on my side. In the following days, things escalated quickly. Michael contested the divorce papers, and Karen, true to form, refused to leave. I followed through with my plan and sent her a court summons for squatting. She was stunned when she realized the house was under my name, not Michael's. She confronted me, her voice dripping with disbelief. "You tricked me. I did no such thing," I said firmly. "I gave you a clear warning and time to leave." She continued to argue, but the truth was clear. She refused to leave, and as I suspected, it all led to court. My lawyer had a solid case, recordings of our calls, the eviction notice, and her blatant refusal to vacate the premises. In the end, Karen was charged with a Class A misdemeanor for squatting. Seeing her humiliated in court was a victory I couldn't have imagined, but one I deeply relished after years of her mistreatment. Weeks later, Michael and Karen showed up at Judy's place. They were still reeling from the defeat. "How could you do that to my sister?" Michael asked, his voice rising in frustration. "Your sister has made my life miserable for years. I put an end to it, and you chose to side with her," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I only did it because she had nowhere to go after the eviction. I was helping her," Michael insisted, trying to justify his actions. "Helping her? Was she always your priority, even before we separated?" I countered. Michael stumbled over his words, but I didn't give him the chance to finish. "Save it, Michael. I don't need to hear any more. See you in court." Karen interjected, confused. "How is the house even in your name? Your brother's not on any documents. I helped him pay the mortgage." "That's your brother's issue. He wanted to be the man of the house, but never took responsibility for it. I did all the hard work while he enjoyed the benefits," I said, my patience completely gone. With that, I slammed the door, ending the conversation for good. In the weeks that followed, Michael's attempts to claim every trivial possession from our shared life grew tiresome, but I was prepared. Every item he tried to claim, I had receipts proving I had paid for it all. Meanwhile, I took action on another front. I sent screenshots of Michael's inappropriate messages to Judy to his company's HR department. Within 2 weeks, he was fired. Isabella, surprisingly, wasn't. Some colleagues told me she had claimed Michael had pressured her into their relationship, and when that came to light, their affair ended as well. It took time, but the divorce was finalized, and I was free. I celebrated with Judy, feeling like I had not only won but reclaimed my life. As for Michael and Karen, their lives had taken a nosedive. They ended up living together in a modest apartment, barely scraping by. Their parents reached out to apologize for their actions, which offered some sense of closure. Now, as I looked forward to my new life, I knew I'd emerged stronger. I had learned to stand my ground, fight for what was mine, and most importantly, never forget my worth. Cheers to moving forward.